I don't know. I think everybody will have their own point of view. People will say it's more done, it's less done, it's medium done. There's never really a right target as to how to do it. If I didn't market this film, then you could always turn around and say, it's not marketed enough. But my logic is that all platforms where one has been with the associations, the simple idea is to inform people what the film stands for. Whether it's through brands like Synthol, whether it's through a press conference, whether it's to a GEC.
Sure. What is interesting for me particularly is the fact that the lifespan of a film, which is crunch right now, typically I'm told that 51 days from the release of Ravan itself is going to come on small screen. Is it because you have a smaller window, you go overboard marketing a film so that the opening is much better?
See, I've seen films, reach silver jubilees. I've seen the times when satellites were 9 months later or a year later. But I guess the mediums and the media has become so big, the platforms are so many, that if you really want to exploit or expose your work, you need to do it when it is relevant. Some films will still have a long life, a longer shelf life, and maybe the right way to gauge the success of a film finally will depend on the replays that happen on satellite, on cable, maybe on internet, or maybe online. So one has seen the business change. One also has understood the fact that because of the number of theatres that have increased in the last 10 years, 15 years that I've been in the industry, every month there is an addition of about 6 to 18 screens. Obviously, there are enough eyeballs. There was never enough theatres or platforms to go and see it. Now that there are platforms, the business becomes big in the couple of first weeks that you're talking about. And yeah, satellite now has to be more relevant because the pricing is so high. A product needs to remain fresh. Sometimes it's unfortunate, you have a movie, it doesn't do well, and you're like, oh God, it never even took off. So you really need to make sure that your business partners gain whatever mileage they can out of it. But when you have a nice big film, I think the longevity is there, but it will now be measured in terms of how often it's replayed. It's not going to be in terms of silver jubilees and golden jubilees.
Also, the media mix has changed per se. As in, you have always had on-air promotions, you always had posters, but right now the digital is playing a big role, and your film is about, I'm told, is about digital.
I've always been one for attempting new platforms, and it's not for only promoting my film. For me, it is going to be a platform for showing my films.
Which is what the YouTube.
YouTube is new right now, but I would again talk about television. When television started, there was no way that you would have satellite rights and the movie being promoted. Just recently I saw a fantastic film, my friend's film Singham, and the way it was promoted on its television debut was bigger than the way perhaps it was promoted even as a theatrical debut. I don't know if you noticed that.
In the ratings as well.
Yeah, so what happens is that, and 15-20 years ago you didn't think television was the main medium. And it is today. So when you talk about going on the media mix and the platforms, I'm not going on the platforms just to market my film. I'm actually nurturing them to become platforms for showcasing my films in the future. And I think that's what the business is going to be. That's how people will look at all these different platforms later on.
It's just not about the film. You have to go beyond the film revenues as well, right? The merchandising revenue. A film like yours has the potential to have the merchandising revenue as well, which is what we have not explored.
Yeah, actually, I don't know how successful that would be. So we have invested a lot of money in merchandising because I've always felt that merchandising or organized retail of merchandise is going to be one of the next big things in India. I've always wanted it. Through my cricket team I tried, maybe haven't succeeded so much. Then you have to have a film which can lend itself. I think Ravan lends itself, maybe Krish Part 2 will lend itself, Dhoom will lend itself. So you have to have that kind of a film which kids and youngsters want to own dolls and merchandise of. We are attempting that. Games, the social gamings and stuff that we launched with India Games, YouTube. Last night I was sitting with my son and he turned around and he said, Dad, what if your game becomes like Angry Bird? So I said, if it becomes like Angry Birds, dude, I'm not even going to release this film in the theatre. I'm happy, 50 million people are playing the Ravan game. So you take those chances. Inshallah, I'm not speaking like my son, but hopefully it has that kind of reach. If not today, at least all of us who are supposedly the leaders in the film industry are nurturing these platforms. So a merchandise takes off. It will be fantastic if it does. Also, it may help me if once the film releases, merchandising, games, social media may help me retain this franchise for a year and come back with a part 2 if I can.